Welcome to the Tea for the Queen podcast, the podcast where we try to keep our sanity in an era of staying woke. We explore current events and issues and topics through the lens of progressive thought, discussion, feminism, peace, and love, all while keeping wellness at the center of it all. My name is Tierra Burns. I am your host, and this is your episode. Between the year 1960 and 2000, 9 million Black families moved from the inner city to the suburbs. The fact is, African Americans desire the same things as all Americans want for their families: employment opportunities with well-paying positions that can keep up or stay ahead of the cost of living, the chance to own affordable homes and safe neighborhoods, quality options for education, and the social and cultural amenities that make it all worthwhile. Right now, the South, more than any other region of the country, is living up to that promise. So there are a lot of people moving back to the South as a part of the new Great Migration. I'm one of those people. I moved from the Detroit Metroplex area to DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth. My family made that move for us from the city to the suburbs of Detroit in 1999 or 2000. I can't remember exactly when, but I know it was sometime in there. Being Black in the suburbs taught me a lot of unfortunate lessons and exposed me to some hard truths about America. The experience was great. I met some great people, and I've learned a lot about myself, and also it's made me more pressed in my identity or my love of being a Black woman, a Black person, really. While I know my parents were seeking a different environment than what they saw us having in Detroit, I doubt they knew the change in culture that we will experience at the level that we experience it as a family. Unfortunately, suburban Black kids relate to America in a unique way. None of this is meant to be elitist or to come from a place of blind privilege. I have to preface that I am very aware of the privilege that my experience as a suburbanite has given me, and the exposure to some things in the educational system that the government just does not give to inner city schools. But the specific experience of having your Blackness challenged by your community while having it affirmed by outsiders is quite complex. On this episode, I have with me Mr. Andrew Prince. He goes by Drew Prince now. We both spent our formative years in the suburbs of Detroit. We're both Black suburban kids. And he recently had me on his album where he talks about his struggle and just the internal dialogue.
Hi, everybody. Hi. This is the Tea for the Queen podcast. Today I have on with me Mr. What's your name, show notes.
But in the meantime, enjoy this conversation.
Drew Prince. I'm sorry. I know him as Andrew.
Yes.
we go back like 4 flats on 5 Cadillacs. My God.
Man.
Man. Jeez. How long have we known each other?
My first pinpoint when we met would definitely have to be 4th grade. Either fourth or 5th grade.
Are you sure it was in 5th grade?
It might have been 5th. It might have been 5th grade.
It may have been 5th grade. Did you go to Beachview?
I did go to Beachview from 1st to 5th.
You went to Beachview? I thought you went to the other school.
I went to okay, so I guess my school, my K-12 school career, I went to Fairview for preschool. Fairview is now gone. I think it's like a dog park now. Then I went to William Grace for kindergarten. William Grace is now gone. To my understanding, I think that's like a park or something. Then I went then 1st to 5th Beachview. I haven't been over there last time I was home, but to my understanding, Beachview is still
Beachview
is still there. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I know the pool is still there for sure. Then the middle school, East, obviously, some of my favorite times, and then after that, after that 9th grade U of D Jesuit in the city, and then 10, 11, 12 Novi, where I graduated. So,
wow, okay,
yeah.
And you didn't go to Harrison, although it felt like you went to Harrison.
I wanted to go to Harrison so bad. I did not go to Harrison though. My 9th grade year, I was at U of D. Granted, we still lived in we still lived in Farmington, and at the end of that freshman year when we decided that U of D wasn't really the best fit for me, we moved to Novi at that point. So my Harrison, it's like I moved twice without. It's like I moved once. How can I put it? It's like I moved twice, but I only moved once. If that makes sense.
Okay, so Drew, I gotta get used to calling you Drew.
No, you call me. You know me as Andrew, so I want so call me Andrew. So
okay, Andrew. Andrew. Tell me about what you do.
So I'll start with day job. I'll start with the day job career side of things first. I am a teacher. I've been in the classroom since 2014, 2015 was my first official school year physically, and 15, 16 was my first school year on paper. So I've been in the classroom for about 8 years now. Music, I've obviously taught music because that's what my degree is in, music education. So I've done orchestra for a few years. I've done band for a few years. I've done elementary music, but that'll like more so be on like an after school or summer camp tip. And that's pretty much been the case from when I first started 2014 to right before the pandemic, and then post, I hate to say post pandemic, but when outside opened in the pandemic, I pretty much been in K5 since. So I did. I taught 5th last year, and now I'm currently teaching 4th. And K5 it's cool. It's an experience for the time being, but yeah, I like it, but I do want to move on from that soon, and move on to I guess my to the creative side of what I do, and I guess I'll go into that. So I am a producer. I am a producer DJ based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Currently, I do play alto sax as well. That's what started everything off for me. What else do I do? Producer, DJ, sax. And I'm a photographer as well. I do shoot. That's the newest out of the bunch. So I've been shooting seriously since summer of 2017.
I think I remember when you started photography. Okay. So as a producer, what are your current projects right now?
So as far as straight up, as far as beat tapes, if you will, or instrumental tapes, my two current projects.
Say that again.
As far as instrumental tapes.
Okay, I thought you said HTML. I'm listening. Okay.
Nah. Yeah, no. As far as instrumental tapes, I have 48221 Bagley and Sherwood. That's out on all streams now. Excuse me. That's out on all streams now. That was that tape was it's like a tribute to my grandparents' neighborhood and my parents' neighborhood as well. They're from the Bagley they're from the Bagley district in Detroit, which is like Livernois 6-7 mile area ish.
Okay.
So that's an instrumental tape, and that's a tribute to that. And I also have Awkward Beep, which also stems to my shirt line as well. But I have an instrumental tape called Awkward Beep as well that I released in 2019. I dropped 48221 a year ago. So like 2020, like almost literally a year ago, 2021 last year, February.
Okay. So 48221, you said that's the Bagley district?
Yep. Bagley and Sherwood district. And sorry. But so that's my those are my current instrumental tapes. I started back. I've been writing since freshman year, since 9th grade. So I did my first rap album, which is out, which is what I'm rolling out and promoting now, and that's called Suburban City Kids, and that's out everywhere now as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm featured on it, by the way.
Yes, yes, she is. Mm-hmm.
You chopped my memo up. Why did you do that?
It was, I had to.
Was it that
I couldn't
long?
keep it. It was like 3. It's like 3 or 4 minutes, something like that. But
Man,
I know I wanted to keep the whole thing, but I wanted to get the gems.
no, I get it. It's
I
fine.
want to get the specific gems.
Okay, so tell me about the album. I know about it, but if you had to like put it in like 2 sentences, what is it about?
Suburban City Kids is about. It's about wow, how can I put it? It's about telling Black kids' story that are north of 8 Mile.
Okay.
To put it in a sentence, and to make it apply to anyone that's like in this country. I'm telling the story of Black kids who didn't grow up in the city. That's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when it comes to our culture, we don't do the best job as far as loving and embracing us as well, because we didn't necessarily grow up traditionally Black, if you will, and half the time we be doing it to ourselves. So,
what you mean?
Okay, so for me growing up, I'll speak specifically on when I went to Novi. I've had a lot of like moments where where I would be like domed the rich kid because I had both parents because I had both parents in the house and both parents like doing well. You know what I'm saying? At that time, my mom worked for GM, and my dad was an attorney, of course. So whereas the few where the few Blacks that were in my school, nobody was already 90% white and Indian, and like 5% us at that time. So a lot of ones who got a lot of my classmates who looked like me during my time at Novi were pretty much either there because they had gotten kicked out of all Detroit schools so like Novi was like that last option. So it wasn't like, and that's really another reason why I wanted to go to Harrison so bad, because I knew I was gonna be around my childhood friends, for one, because that's where I grew up, and and you know what I'm saying, and it's just like other like-minded people, where nobody you would think it'd be the same thing, but it just at that time it just wasn't,
Yeah, at Harrison, like a lot of us who went to Harrison, we just grew up around there. It was just like the next logical move for us to be there. So, I mean, of course, you had kids who had been like out of, who came from the city, or they were bussed in, or for whatever reasons. But a lot of us were, we was just just in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
So, so of course, like, one thing that is true, that I think is true, and differs us from our classmates, is that we, when I say us, I'm talking about the Black folks. All of us have family in Detroit, right?
Yeah,
right.
Of course, yeah.
So, my family, we moved out there in 2000 and no, shut up, Tierra. It was either 99 or 2000. I can't remember, but it was somewhere in there. And I think we were like the first of our family to move out of the city. Like,
we were the first to move
into, first people. And gosh, when I was born,
I think my parents came, moved out there it was like a year or two after they got married, so like 83 or 84, something like that, because they got married in, good dang, their 40th is this year. That's crazy. But
that's crazy. That's
my parents, Yeah,
My sister was born in 83, so they got married when she was born. That's crazy.
yeah. My parents got
Yeah.
married in August '82.
Wow. Damn. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. My question was, when did your family move there?
It was like '83, '84. So it was a
Mhm.
few years before. It was a few years before they had me.
So what
So I
made
guess
them move to the suburbs and
same reasons is like
mm,
of us. They wanted me to have like more opportunities and a better life, and you know like the birds was just really expanding
mm,
at that time. So it was more. It was I had to say
a
more
good
opportunity,
time?
but yeah, more opportunity at that given time.
That's good. So in your family though, like, were you like, it's so funny. We were like seen as, not black enough by our
Hmm.
families, and like, but in school, like growing up where we grew up, we was black. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So did you, like, whenever you would go see your family in the city, did you experience any of those type of aggressions or anything like that?
So for me, it would be whenever they would come to us, and I would ask them like what part of town they live on, and I remember the responses would always be like, it ain't like here, it ain't like not like here. You know what I'm saying.
They can
So
say east side or west side. What?
right,
Okay. Okay.
they'll say like not like here as the response, but
Mm,
I, my family made it known that that I was definitely that I was definitely blessed, you know,
mm, mm.
because there's so many others that don't have they don't have the resources that I had, or like for example, my auntie, she was a retired she's a retired principal in DPS, and she was telling me all
Mhm.
the time, and she was just giving us stories of like her students um all the time, and and I had like a lot of luxuries that that you know saying that we took for granted that wasn't the case in DPS, for example, or just like other places.
Like, explain. Like, what
So okay,
luxury?
so here's a perfect example I remember vividly.
Mm.
So apparently, a lot of the schools in this at this time, a lot of schools in the city did not have doors on the bathrooms.
Wow.
So
Okay.
like the bathroom stall doors. I remember it was in my auntie or someone at my church saying that was like a luxury for like a lot of
Hmm.
for like a lot of schools.
Mhm.
So just like little things like that I wouldn't think twice of, or like or the whole having to share books thing versus everyone gets their own textbook, and that's basically yours for the class
Mhm.
or the year or whatever.
Okay. Now, and it's so funny you say that, because I remember I was on a date recently, and I was
Hmm.
telling them, like, oh, this is what I did in high school. I had to learn how to dive in an Olympic swim to graduate, yada yada. And she was like, I don't what do you mean? What kind of school did you go to? Was that college prep? And I was like, no, I went to a public school. What are you talking about? So
Hmm.
I didn't know that those certain things were like luxuries, and it's a privilege that I've had to like come to terms with, that I didn't
Yeah.
I thought that was just like the standard, like I thought everybody had those things.
Hmm.
I thought everybody had those things, but as I've grown, I've learned and like worked to accept that, like, okay, my experience is still authentic. So
Yeah.
have you felt that, like, have you had to have those talks with yourselves about, with, not, why did I say yourselves multiple? Have you had to have that conversation with yourself about your blackness, and you not being from the background that America says that all black people are from, Hey, it's Tiara. Before we keep going, I just want to let you know that I am so grateful that you're listening to this podcast. You may have noticed some inconsistency with my episode output. It is my passion that the content I produce is essential, effective, good, and very beneficial to you. Unfortunately, the work behind this pod or podcast requires resources. I would love if everything was just thrown at me, and I'm manifesting that it will be thrown at me. Shout out to the universe. But there is a small team behind this pod and so many podcasts that you may listen to. Not only does hitting play support the show, but I also have merch that goes towards this show also. To support Tea for the Queen would mean so much for me and to those who are helping me produce this podcast. So to show support, please go to teaforthequeenshop.com to purchase merch. Remember to use the promo code LISTENER for 10% off. I know there's something on there for you. We have shirts, we have keychain stickers, something for everyone. And also we have digital downloads of guided meditations if you're interested in that. Visit teaforthequeenshop.com to support the show and its continuation. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get back to the show.
I feel like with me, I was always, I feel like I was always in tune because I was always apart via and you know, so shout out my childhood church fellowship chapel for that. Just through so I came up in this mentoring program through my church called Asuzu. And the sister version of that is called Insojani, and it was basically like a young men's and young women's mentoring program. So we would meet every I forget, it was like every second and fourth Saturday, whatever it was. And we would just get so much game, you know what I'm saying? We would like talk and learn about everything, you know what I'm saying? We would do like pissing games, ropes courses, and just like be out in the city and just be hip to like what's going on. I don't know if you remember the end of when they had the NAACP Freedom Fund dinners at Kobo, but we would always work those every year. We always did a mock trial at the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice downtown every year, and so like I've always been like in tune. Yeah, and, you know what I'm saying? Like I've always been in tune with the city in that regard. And of course like my grandparents, so whenever like my parents went out of town or whatever, I was there. I was at my grandparents. So I always felt that's why like I never felt like awkward whenever like I tell people I'm from Detroit because like I've always been in tune. I've stayed there. I've worked there. I've done like everything. And it's the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how else to put it. So I would say I never felt like I had to like overly explain myself, and and my thing was just like if you want to know, then ask. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one to paint, and I'm definitely not one to paint a narrative or flex, if you will. When literally all you have to do is ask, and I will gladly share. You know.
My next question is, so, you know, there's a common stereotype of the type of folks who go to HBCUs, right?
Okay.
You went to HBCU, right?
I did, Hampton.
Are you sure?
Shout out to LSU.
Yes,
oh my God,
Hampton. Okay. I gotta cut that out. My sisters will kill me.
That's right. That's good. Bison over there, but
I'm not. I'm not a bison.
I got mad. I know you're not, but I know your sister is. But I got mad love for Howard though. I really, really do. That's what my dad went for law.
Here's what I say. So I have a lot of, you know, what are y'all, the pirates, the captains?
Yes.
I have a lot of pirates.
Not the captains. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have a lot of like folks from Hampton who are like my good friends. You know what I mean?
You do, yeah.
And I will say, I hate to say it, they've been much nicer than the Bisons. I don't really get along with Howard people.
Mm.
I don't really get along with him like that.
I think I can tell you why that is.
Please tell me.
Howard is more clout.
Okay, I don't care.
Howard is way more. Howard is way more clout than than us.
I get it, but I don't like it, and that's still not a reason to be an asshole.
Oh yeah, not at all. Not at all.
That just is what it is. But no, so a stereotype that they have about the type of Black folks who go to HBCUs are folks like us who grew up in the suburbs because they think that we're trying to prove our Blackness. Do you think that's true? Like, what do you say to that?
Honestly, I knew that I wanted to go to HBC. You remember the Detroit Football Classic that it was Kwame's thing. I've been in love with HBCU since then. So I knew I wanted to okay, so two things. Since the Detroit Football Classic and just like everybody else would say, drumline. Those are the two things that said I'm going to HBCU.
You were on the drumline, right? Weren't you?
I was in there.
Okay, I'm listening. Go on.
I was in there. But I would and really just like I remember the first time we visited DC. My dad showed us took us around on Howard's campus, and he was just like so excited to show us like everywhere, and I don't know how to put it.
Just talk.
Just the fact, yeah. I mean, just the fact that you know what I'm saying. I had the opportunity to meet so many people that look like me nationwide, and I now know like so many people that look like me all across the country. So like I can go to Texas and say I know this person and that person. I can go to Atlanta and say I know this person and that person. New York, I know this person that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I have that connection worldwide of people that like that. You know, so I could like call on for whatever.
But do you think it's true that Black kids from the suburbs go to HBCUs to prove their Blackness?
I think there's definitely some for sure.
Really? Why?
Because I mean like I guess like when you hear it so much from everybody then it kind of starts the fact that the whole like you ain't Black thing, you're not really Black, this, that, and the third, and it's like when you hear that so much, then it's like you get tired of it, and you feel like you have to prove it. I'll give you a perfect example. I know.
Yes.
I don't know if you watch Last OG. It's Tracy Morgan's show on on TBS.
I did. Yeah, I didn't finish it, but it's a good show.
Yeah. They're like 4 seasons in now. I know Tiffany Haddish was in the first 2 seasons, and they kind of wrote her off or whatever. But this past season, well, we don't know if they did. But
I'm listening. Go on.
This past season, the oldest daughter she's like filling out college applications and whatnot. And then this episode, they they go to one open house. Well, they go to one recruitment fair that's Georgetown, I think it was, and basically like they're at the Georgetown recruitment meeting, and they're like ignoring her questions and all that, and basically like, pretending that she's not even there. And at the end of that recruitment fair, she's like, "This is the school for me. I want to go to Georgetown. I'm so excited. Woo woo, whatever." And then they go to the second recruitment fair, which is Hampton. So Hampton's featured in this particular episode, and you know they're like being like as honest and as transparent as far as what freshman year of college is and how Hampton is and how like HBCU experience is, and she just felt mad uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's, to the point where she still wanted to go to Georgetown, and one of the recruiters, she was like a G or something like that in the show, but she went and spoke to her and said that, and said like, look, I was the same way. I didn't even know that there was a Black national anthem. I didn't know this, that, and the third, but but here, you know what I'm saying? Here you have the space and room to be who you want to be, and to embrace who you want, and to embrace how Black you want to be, you know, because black comes in different shades and types and forms, you know, and so I feel like with us growing up, well, in white or 60-40 areas that we have that. I'm not allowed to be I'm not allowed to be in band, or I'm not allowed to like appreciate the performing arts, which is what my out was in at Novi, and that, you know what I'm saying, I just had to, and that it was expected of me to be on like hood bullshit or play sports. Like it's crazy. I remember like I was after school or whatever, and I guess like one of the lunch moms tried to like stop me, like and like see like where I was going or whatever. And I told her like I don't know what I was doing. I had stayed over to practice, or I was coming from track or something like that, because I ran track at that time too. And one of the lunch times I was just like, yeah, they're in the cafeteria, and I'm just like, what do you? I didn't tell her this, but I'm just like, what do you mean by like? What do you mean by there, like them? And basically what it was every day after school, that 5% of like us that I was talking about, we would just stay after school until a late bus comes, just doing nothing basically, but being niggas, to say the least. And it was, I mean, it would be fun like sometimes, but like we wasn't doing anything but wasting time. And just like letting time pass, doing nothing but being niggas, basically, because that's essentially what we was doing, like just like playing around,
existing while being existing Black. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. But where was I going with this?
I was trying to figure that out myself.
I guess my point in all of this is Hampton gave me the space to be who I am and to be who I want to be.
Okay.
And I appreciate it for that. And granted, it's crazy because Hampton is considered one of it's considered like the bougie of the bougiest. Because I've heard a lot of people say that they didn't feel that way during their experience at Hampton, which I found was interesting.
But then again, like, you can be Black and be bougie, like,
absolutely, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know?
No.
I hate to. People may not agree with that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being Black and bougie.
Not at all.
Not at all. Like, we can exist in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So with your album,
and we should be proud to have a code too. You know,
what you mean?
Like as far as like being like Black and bougie, I feel like it should also be okay to, you know what I'm saying, I mean, not to a point to where it's like stuck up, but but we should want to have like value and standards and things that we like and want to do. We shouldn't feel ashamed for liking certain things or wanting certain things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. It's so funny. One of my clients, her entire platform that she's building is about, it's okay to not want anything to do with like the struggle. What's that? Is that a vape?
No, that's my AirPod case. Okay. I am not doing it. No.
Like, say, why are you doing that? No. She is really much into like, okay, I want people, and especially Black women, to know that like it's okay to not be a part of, not think that your life has to be a part of the struggle. You know what I mean? Like, we don't always have to exist that way. We can exist in multiple ways. So when you were making this album, what were your greatest like moments of inspiration that inspired you to create something of this context? Because there's not really anything out there like it.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to tell my story and pinpoint specific things that really that like actually happened. My first raps. This is actually this is my first raps album, but my second like raps project. So my first like raps project, Beef Rap, Emotions and Words. That basically just like showed that you know what I'm saying, I could hold my own in this bag as well, because so many people know me as the producer or whatever, someone that a producer, if you will, someone that makes beats, but no one really knew that I did used to write at one point in time, and I was pretty dope too. Like I said, it was ninth grade English class that inspired me. 10th grade, I did poetry. I did poetry slam. I had a poem. I had a poem written in I had a poem like published in the high school paper. But I guess that kind of transitioned into production when three things transitioned like from me writing into production. So poetry slam, the poetry slam team or whatever was kind of transitioning into like more so of a book club, and I wasn't really feeling it. And me discovering Dilla at that time when he passed. And I said two things. And the third thing was when Nas dropped his Hip Hop Is Dead album, and I don't know if you remember, but that whole controversy of is hip hop dead. So those would be the three things that really.
Was that during the time when JC was? Why do I call that man JC? Jay-Z was also like doing like the Death to Auto-Tune thing.
That came a little bit later.
Okay.
Because that was on Blueprint 3, which was 2010. Because that was my song. That was sophomore year of
music history. I love it. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. This is dope so far.
Go on. You were telling me about Death to Auto-Tune. You said that's not when that happened?
No, that was a little bit later.
Oh. Yeah. So why was so you said that Nas was saying that hip hop was dead.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why was he saying that? Just tell me briefly. I just want to know out of curiosity.
So So around that time, Soulja Boy started to have his boom too. So that's like what like fit into that too.
That makes sense. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. The screen went black. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah. And at that time, it seemed like that more so like Soulja and that type of sound was blossoming a little more, and which I didn't necessarily relate to at that time versus you know what I'm saying, versus like your Nas, your Common, your Lupe, and the real shit, if you will. And you know, I felt, and another thing that led me to making beats. So I talked about Nas's Hip Hop Is Dead album and that whole concept, and I was just like, I want to change this. And I talked about Dilla passing away, and so my introduction to Dilla, he passed. Donuts drops his beat tape. I would pull out that vinyl, but it's in there somewhere, so it's alive.
Okay.
So Donuts passed. I fall in love with Donuts. I go back and basically like do my my homework, and I found out that like a lot of what I used to listen to in the car with my grandfather was Dilla, and then from that it was like no change my mind. Like this is the sound that my mind is gonna be on for the rest of my life. And then so then there's that, and then so all that's like sophomore, like beginning of junior year. Then second semester junior year comes. I take broadcasting communications class. We do a mashup project where we basically put like an instrumental with a cappella and like blended two songs together, and then once I did, and then after that project happened, it was off to the races. It was off to the races as far as beats. I got free loops for my birthday that year, I think, and I just been like going at it since.
Mm. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
You stopped talking out of nowhere.
Oh no! What was the other part of the question?
No, my question really was like, what moments inspired the content of the album?
Okay. Good.
I know your history as a producer, but I want to know what inspired the content of the album. Mm-hmm.
Just being someone who spent so much time growing up in the suburbs and being looked at as not not traditionally black. That's really what inspired it, and I was just wanted to like tell and share my stories and show that I'm just as dope as the next person, and my story is just as real as the person that claims that they're the realest.
Do you think that's
what?
Go on.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you think that possibly this is something that folks who are in the suburbs now, younger kids, like that they're able to relate to currently?
That's what I hope. That's what I want. That's the purpose. There's a meme out there that I could try to pull it up, but there's a meme out there that says that's it's basically one of those like if don't say you're from Detroit if you in ABC to EFG city, and then it shows this map of Metro Detroit and then in big black. You've seen it before, right? In
I've
big
seen
black
it before.
words it says, yeah. So
and I think that's go on.
I was gonna say that's actually where the inspiration for the cover came from.
Okay. Now I get it. Okay, I get it now. I think that's complete bullshit. Because for us, like our family's history is so entwined with Detroit that there's no way that we're not from there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Like you can't take that away from us. So yeah, I'm really grateful that you did something like this because of course, like there's rappers out here who probably didn't grow up in the city. Like you have your child.
My second point, because I mean cut off, but the other thing that's trash about it is you look at Atlanta. There are people from Decatur, College Park, the North. You want to know what the North is? The North is Gwinnett County. One of my best friend went to school with Quavo, who is from Gwinnett County. Nobody in Atlanta is shunning them, and honestly, that's why Atlanta always pops with content. Travis Scott, who is from Missouri City, Texas. Nobody in Houston is shunning Travis Scott for not growing up in Houston.
Yeah.
So it's like it's I don't know. It feels like
go on.
I feel like it's only the smaller cities that do that. It seems like the bigger market cities don't really do that to one another, which is why they always pop with content.
Yeah, I think that people don't understand how urban sprawl works. For one, like you can be from a city and not live in that particular city. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'm like in the Addison Carrollton area, but if someone asks me where I'm at, I'm going to say Dallas because it just makes sense. You know what I mean? And also, I think it's funny that like the Migos are from the Burbs and Travis Scott and all them, but they almost have to put on a performance as if they are street or hood or all these things when these are just some suburban niggas. You know what I mean?
Just like us, yeah.
Just like us, you know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people like, what do you call it thing? White kids kind of like their music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just so easily adaptable to, because they're giving them what they think that black kids in the suburbs are supposed to give, you know, that chaos, that thug street, even though they really aren't about that life, you know, like if you go, for example, you go to a Amigos concert, you're gonna see a lot of white folks, right? You're gonna see that.
Oh yeah, of course.
But if you go to a Nipsey concert, now Nipsey is actually from the street, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might know something different, but he's really about that life. The crowd is gonna look different because that's just, it's real, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, that's just my thought on it. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. No, I think that it's just very interesting, and I think that it's cool as a rapper that you're saying, hey, you know what, I'm black and I'm not from, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, but that doesn't take away from my experience. So yeah. Well, we got like 8 minutes left. Okay. Is there anything that you want to say, like drop your handles and how people can find you?
Okay, so I'm Creative Drew P on all socials. I'm most active on IG and Twitter. You could Suburban City Kids is out now everywhere. I would best prefer for you to copy it off of Bandcamp because that goes directly to me, unlike the streams. So that's drewpence.bandcamp.com. You can stream it now on Pack of the Plug, which is YouTube, Pack of the Plug, Drew Prince, and then you will see my project. You will see Suburban City Kids, but the album is out everywhere. And as far as what's next, I'm about to get these visuals off. So look out for those.
Okay. Thank you. Hang on.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tea for the Queen podcast. Remember to listen to Drew Prince's album. I'm going to put the link to it in the show notes. Follow him on Instagram at Creative Drew Prince. If you can't find him, just go to my LinkedIn and he'll be tagged there. Let him know that I sent you guys. We still have merch available. Remember, the listener code is LISTENER for 10% off. If you listen to this show on Apple iTunes, please give us a review and rate us. Your positive rating and reviews helps other people who care about the unique perspective of our guests and listeners. Remember to subscribe to the show on your podcast app so that you get notified when we have new episodes out. Thank you so much for listening to the Tea for the Queen podcast. Remember to stay woke, stay well, and stay thriving.